Around 145 million years ago, Earth entered a new chapter in its history, the Cretaceous period. This was the final era of the dinosaurs, and a time when our planet was at its most terrifying. If you could travel back in time, you would witness a world completely unlike our own. The continents had not yet fully separated. They were still connected as one vast landmass, and the climate was so hot that there was no ice at either pole. Dense forests blanketed the continents, while massive rivers carved their way through sweeping plains. There was no snow, no winter-only heat, the sound of giant insects, and the chilling cries of the most fearsome predators of the age. What you're seeing is the T-Rex, the undisputed apex predator of the dinosaur world, a symbol of absolute power. These tyrannosaurs ruled the land, striking fear into every creature that crossed their path. But just above their heads soared creatures no less terrifying in their own right. These rulers of the sky weren't just capable of flight, their wings could blot out the sun, and they had the strength to snatch up a full-grown dinosaur in the blink of an eye. They were the embodiment of perfection in nature, both predators and symbols of power in a chaotic era of life. It was an age when even a fleeting shadow overhead could strike fear into the lord of the land, the T-Rex. Today's documentary will take you back to a time when the skies were the most dangerous place on Earth, ruled by giants. When we think of giant flying creatures, we often imagine eagles or hawks, but those are mere infants compared to the titans that once soared through the skies of the Cretaceous. The Cretaceous period marked the peak of ancient life. By then, dinosaurs had ruled the land for tens of millions of years. While four-legged creatures still roamed below, above them, enormous winged reptiles filled the prehistoric skies. Millions of years of evolution gave rise to the first massive flying animals, the pterosaurs. But there's one thing you must remember. These creatures were not birds. Though they had wings and could fly, the beings we just mentioned were reptiles, cold-blooded creatures, distant relatives of the dinosaurs. These flying lizards were the rulers of Earth's skies for a vast stretch of time. They weren't just the first flyers, they were masters of adaptation, thriving in nearly every environment, from coastlines and plains to remote islands. These species could glide for hundreds of kilometers, hunt fish, and even attack stray dinosaurs. What set them apart was a pair of wings made from thin membranes of skin, stretched from their bodies to long, spear-like fingers. It was this unusual structure that allowed them to rise into the air, while other creatures remained grounded. Paleontologists have discovered over 200 different species of pterosaur. Some were no larger than a pigeon, while others had wingspans exceeding 10 meters, rivaling modern fighter jets. Among them, the most striking and iconic name is Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying reptile ever to exist on Earth. Quetzalcoatlus lived during the late Cretaceous in what is now North America, around 68 to 65.5 million years ago. Its name comes from the feathered serpent god of the ancient Aztec civilization in Central America. Quetzalcoatlus was considered the lord of the skies, ruling the air just as the Tyrannosaurus ruled the land. A single Quetzalcoatlus is estimated to have weighed anywhere from 110 to 100 pounds, with the average around 550 pounds. With its colossal size, a single takeoff from a Quetzalcoatlus was enough to shake the skies. Scientists estimate its wingspan could reach up to 40 feet, roughly the size of a small modern airplane. Its wings stretched along both sides of the body, from shoulder to ankle, supported by an unusually elongated finger. Muscles within the wings allowed this creature to adjust its wing shape mid-flight, much like how a jet adjusts its wings during takeoff or landing. When standing upright, Quetzalcoatlus reached nearly the height of a giraffe, with a long neck, a sharp beak like a spear, and a lightweight yet incredibly sturdy skeleton. The body structure of Quetzalcoatlus was a masterpiece of evolution, light enough to fly, but strong enough to strike. Many still wonder, how could such a massive creature even take off? The answer lies in its enormous wing membranes stretching from the torso to its limbs, along with an extraordinarily developed chest muscle system. With a single beat of its wings, it could generate enough lift to launch its 440-pound body off the ground in just seconds. Quetzalcoatlus was a skilled glider. It could soar as high as 15,000 feet and reach speeds of up to 105 miles per hour. At that speed, it could dive down and devour any prey that fit in its mouth, from small bird-sized dinosaurs to young tyrannosaurs and amphibians. But what made Quetzalcoatlus truly terrifying wasn't just its size, it was how it hunted. Quetzalcoatlus was a true meat-grinding machine. Unlike today's birds of prey, it didn't dive into water to catch fish, it stalked its prey on land. Quetzalcoatlus would glide low over barren plains, then suddenly dive, piercing its victim with its dagger-like beak. It didn't need to eat often, a single feast could last for days. And with its long, flexible neck, Quetzalcoatlus could swallow its prey whole with just a few upward thrusts. A creature half bird, half monster, soaring through the skies, yet ready to land and become a ground predator when needed. Amazingly, despite its enormous size, Quetzalcoatlus could fly thousands of meters high and travel hundreds of kilometers in a single day. Perhaps it's this remarkable adaptability that made Quetzalcoatlus a symbol of dominance and agility in the Cretaceous period. If Quetzalcoatlus was the majestic giant of the skies, then Hatzegopteryx was the rebel, a monstrous creature that gave up the sky to rule the land. Both part of the pterosaur family, they were among the last of the flying reptiles during the Cretaceous. But while Quetzalcoatlus lived in the vast deserts of North America, Hatzegopteryx made its home on Hateg Island, an ancient island in what is now Romania, once known as the Island of Monsters. At first glance, Hatzegopteryx looked similar to Quetzalcoatlus, with massive skin wings and a long beak. But the two giants were vastly different. Quetzalcoatlus was slender, with a crane-like neck optimized for long-distance flight, while Hatzegopteryx was bulky, muscular, with a head the size of a small car. Its head alone could reach 10 feet in length, proportionally larger than the skulls of any known dinosaur. The elongated skull made it look like a mobile bone-crushing machine. The front of the skull was long and sharp, while the widest part, the brain cavity, measured only about 20 inches across. Like most flying reptiles, the males had large crests on their heads paired with a thick, muscular neck. Though short, the neck of Hatzegopteryx was incredibly sturdy, built from unusually thick vertebrae. Its neck was said to be as strong as steel, capable of withstanding the powerful impacts of biting and tearing into prey. This unique neck structure and wide jaws allowed the creature to hunt and swallow large prey. The muscular neck could lift and kill its victim with a single shake. It could walk on all fours, folding its wings neatly, using them as forelimbs while moving across the land. Due to its massive size, this creature is believed to have fed on small dinosaurs, which were quite common during the late Cretaceous period when it lived. With a wingspan exceeding 33 feet, comparable to Quetzalcoatlus, Hatzegopteryx wasn't just a ruler of the skies, but a nightmare for all creatures on land. To this day, scientists remain divided over which of the two giants was larger or more powerful. Although the fossils of Hatzegopteryx are incomplete, the immense structure of its skull and neck leads many experts to believe it may have been heavier and stronger, despite possibly having a slightly shorter wingspan than its cousin. What made it unique was its hybrid hunting style, part aerial predator, part terrestrial hunter. Hatzegopteryx didn't soar much. Researchers believe it used short flights to quickly move between areas, but spent most of its time walking on all fours. Like a massive land beast, it would stalk prey in low valleys and suddenly charge, driving its giant beak through the bodies of small dinosaurs or other massive reptiles that lived on the island. With a neck as tough as steel and a powerful jaw, it could crush bone with just a few swings of its head. Its short takeoff could generate speeds over 100 km/h a strike compared to the dive of an A-10 Thunderbolt II fighter jet. Swift, compact, and utterly destructive. In the arid lands that were once the shallow seas of ancient Jordan, scientists discovered the fossil of another giant flying creature, Arambourgiania. The name sounds mythical, but it's very real. With a wingspan of 33 to 43 feet, Arambourgiania is considered one of the last true kings of the sky of the Cretaceous. rivaling and possibly surpassing Quetzalcoatlus in size. Its appearance was a strange blend of strength and elegance. Its neck was extraordinarily long, about the length of a grown man's body, yet so slender that early scientists questioned whether it could even support the weight of its head and massive wings. However, further research revealed that Arambourgiania's cervical vertebrae were built like hollow bones, reinforced by spiderweb-like bone struts, lightweight, yet durable, a true evolutionary marvel. Unlike its ocean-skimming relatives, Arambourgiania appears to have been a predator of highlands and deserts, not a marine hunter. It didn't dive into the ocean for fish, but instead scanned the ground for small prey reptiles, lizards, and even juvenile dinosaurs. With its long, spear-like beak, Arambourgiania could plunge down from dozens of meters in the air, impaling its prey in an instant, fast, precise strike that left no room for escape. Its wings, in modern terms, were the size of a fighter jet's, yet many times lighter. With a single flap, it could travel dozens of kilometers, gliding effortlessly on the desert's thermal winds like a colossal kite. What made Arambourgiania especially terrifying wasn't just its size, it was its towering stance, unlike the two relatives mentioned earlier. Upon landing, its neck would stretch high above a human's head, while its folded wings cast a dark shadow, like a curtain blotting out the sun. If the Cretaceous was the age of flying monsters, then Quetzalcoatlus, Hatzegopteryx, and Arambourgiania were its final and greatest champions, creatures worthy of the dragon legends. One more fearsome beast worth mentioning is Tropeognathus. A pinnacle of aerial evolution in the Cretaceous, Tropeognathus reigned over the southern skies, where strong winds blew day and night. The name Tropeognathus means keel jaw, an accurate description of its distinctive beak, long, sharp, and marked by a large bony crest along both the upper and lower jaws. At a glance, it resembled the nose of a fighter jet, a design perfect for slicing through the wind and skimming the water's surface while hunting. Tropeognathus had an enormous wingspan of up to 26 feet, nearly as wide as a modern helicopter. Though not the largest pterosaur, it was among the most skilled and aggressive flyers ever known. Fossils of Tropeognathus were discovered in Brazil, once a shallow, nutrient-rich sea teeming with fish and plankton. That environment shaped a supreme predator, the ruler of the tropical skies. In appearance, Tropeognathus had a slim body, with hollow, lightweight bones like a bird's, but highly developed chest muscles evidenced that it could flap its wings continuously for minutes at a time, unlike the typical soaring giants. Its beak, over a meter long, was lined with hundreds of sharp, curved teeth perfect for snatching fish or hooking slippery prey from the ocean's surface. Upon spotting a target, Tropeognathus would dive at speeds of up to 100 kph, mouth wide open, snatch the fish, and immediately soar away before any rival could react. Its diet wasn't limited to fish. Some scientists believe Tropeognathus also hunted small lizards, baby turtles, and even scavenged floating carcasses. Bite marks on fossils show its jaws were strong enough to pierce bone, a rarity among flying reptiles of its time. With its massive wingspan and fearsome teeth, Tropeognathus was the perfect blend of speed, agility, and lethality, earning it the nickname nature's first fighter jet. Another unique feature was the bony crest on its head and beak, which not only helped stabilize flight, but may have played a role in mating displays. However, its large body and reliance on abundant fish made Tropeognathus vulnerable to climate shifts. As sea levels fell and food sources dwindled, it vanished along with many other pterosaur species. And so, like all great dynasties, the era of flying monsters came to an end. Earth trembled under the greatest extinction event since life began. A massive asteroid struck the Yucatan Peninsula, unleashing energy equal to billions of nuclear bombs. In an instant, the skies, once the domain of flying giants, became a sea of fire. The rulers of the air disappeared one by one. Yet, as the ash settled and Earth slowly recovered from its hellish ordeal, a new generation of skydwellers emerged. And in time, the skies were once again claimed by a giant Pelagornis. Appearing around 25 million years ago during the Oligocene epoch, this creature is considered the largest flying bird to have ever existed after the age of dinosaurs. When scientists first unearthed its fossil near Charleston Airport in South Carolina, USA, they were so stunned they thought it was a hoax. Pelagornis had a wingspan of up to 24 feet, nearly double that of today's albatrosses. Its lightweight body and hollow bones were paired with long, narrow wings like a glider's, allowing it to travel hundreds of kilometers over open ocean with minimal flapping. The strangest feature lay in its beak. Along its length were dozens of sharp, saw-like bony projections resembling a natural fish trap. Though not true teeth, these pseudo-teeth were enough to grip slippery prey like catfish, its primary food source earning it the nickname false-toothed bird. Yet its enormous size was a double-edged sword. Despite dominating the skies, Pelagornis was clumsy when landing or taking off. A strong headwind could easily throw it off balance. As the climate cooled and oceans grew less bountiful, these giants gradually vanished, giving way to smaller, more adaptable modern birds. Though dinosaurs had vanished from Earth millions of years before, the skies over South America were still far from peaceful. On the windswept slopes of the Andes, amidst vast plains and turbulent skies, a massive shadow often swept across the ground. It wasn't a dragon or a mythical monster, but a real bird, Argentavis magnificens, also known as the Argentine giant eagle. This creature was so enormous it made today's golden eagles look like pigeons by comparison. With a wingspan of up to 23 feet, a height nearing 6'12" feet and weighing over 155 pounds, it was the size of a full-grown man. Its colossal wings were covered in dark brown feathers, and its small head bore a sharp, hooked beak capable of tearing through the thick hides of large mammals. Standing atop a cliff, all it needed was to spread its wings, and the powerful Andes winds would lift it effortlessly into the sky, like a natural glider. Estimates suggest Argentavis could fly over 125 miles with just a few flaps. What made it terrifying was its hunting style. Argentavis didn't chase prey for long, it waited, patient and precise. From hundreds of feet above, it scanned the ground with eyes as sharp as binoculars, able to spot the slightest movement from over 2 miles away. Once it locked onto a target, be it a rabbit, a fox, or even the carcass of a giant ground sloth, Argentavis would fold its wings and dive straight down at over 150 km/h. The impact of that strike was strong enough to break the prey's neck instantly. Some paleontologists believe Argentavis wasn't purely a scavenger, but an active predator, a hybrid between an eagle and a vulture. It lacked the sharp talons of modern eagles, but its powerful neck muscles and massive beak allowed it to tear flesh with ease. When feeding, Argentavis didn't nibble. It swallowed large chunks of meat, sometimes up to 12 inches long, consuming nearly 22 pounds in one sitting. With such power, many scientists have called Argentavis a natural fighter jet. If placed next to an F-16, its wingspan would still be wide enough to cover the front half of the aircraft. As it dived, the wind generated was strong enough to throw nearby flocks of birds off balance. It was the ultimate product of evolution. When the skies no longer belonged to dinosaurs, this bird became their rightful heir. But once again, the king of the skies was not destined to rule forever. As South America's climate grew drier, grasslands shrank and wind and food sources declined, Argentavis's massive wings became a burden. It no longer had the energy to sustain long flights, and over time this giant creature vanished, making way for a new kind of monster. Deep within the dense forests of Ice Age Cuba, a shadow lurked silently in the dark. Not a jaguar, not a bat. It was an owl standing over 3.5 feet tall and weighing nearly 20 pounds. A creature scientists have named Ornimegalonyx. It was the final ruler of the night sky during the Ice Age. Unlike the small owls we're familiar with today, Ornimegalonyx had a massive body and terrifying strength. Its legs were thick, muscular, and powerful, capable of supporting a body almost as heavy as a 10-year-old child. More than just a flying predator, Ornimegalonyx was a true terrestrial hunter. Its strong legs allowed it to sprint through low bushes, chasing prey like a jungle cat in the darkness. However, its enormous weight was a drawback. It couldn't fly far like modern owls. Instead of soaring high, it made short hops between branches or glided low to the ground while stalking its prey. But what made this creature more terrifying than any other owl was its complete silence. The special feathers on its wings were designed to absorb sound. When it took flight, not a single noise could be heard, no wind, no flapping, only a black shadow gliding by in utter silence. Thanks to this ability, Ornimegalonyx could approach its prey undetected, the true nightmare of the night. Its favorite prey included giant hootia rats, small birds and lizards that lived on the island. Once locked onto a target, it needed just one strike. Its claws, nearly 4 inches long, would pierce the prey's throat, and its large hooked beak would finish the kill in seconds. Strangely, despite its power, Ornimegalonyx wasn't strictly carnivorous. Fossils suggest it was omnivorous, supplementing its diet with fruit or carrion when prey was scarce, a testament to its incredible adaptability in the harsh island environment. It was the only known giant owl ever to live in the Caribbean, a symbol of the extraordinary evolutionary paths island species can take. But like many other Ice Age creatures, Ornimegalonyx disappeared as Earth's climate changed. As the ice melted, habitats shrank and humans arrived on the island, bringing fire, traps, and invasive species. With no more dense forests to hide in, no more hunting grounds, the final ruler of the night sky vanished forever. Today, all that remains are a few fossilized bones found in Cuban caves, the last traces of one of Earth's most incredible flying creatures. And that was the story of the giant monsters that once ruled the skies before humankind ever appeared. Which of these creatures do you think was the most terrifying? Leave us a comment below and let us know. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support not only helps us grow, but also motivates us to create even more fascinating documentary content like this. See you next time.